Hello, my name is Nate, and I play Splatoon for the Whip Rays, and I like to stream our games. And one of the challenges I found that comes with streaming games, especially tournament runs, is that I want to tell the audience who I'm playing against and what the current score is and all of that stuff. And while you are in the middle of playing Splatoon and running a stream, that can be very difficult to keep up with. There's a lot of information. So what I've done is create a way to do that for myself automatically. If you played competitive Splatoon, you're probably familiar with Sendou.ink. And if you aren't, you should be. There are a lot of tournaments hosted there. And essentially what I've done is make a tool that will read a match link from Sendou.ink and populate a scoreboard for me, and it will go into my OBS and show on stream. And I don't have to do hardly anything. There's very little amount of input I have to do. So what I'm going to do today is show you the scoreboard, show you how to operate the sheet, and show you how to link it to OBS and make it work for you. And if you forget anything in this video, there's also a bunch of guides underneath the sheet for you to reference. So first, when you are using the sheet, the very first thing you do is you would want to go to File and hit Make a Copy, and make yourself a copy and save that into your own Google Drive, which will allow you to edit this sheet as you see fit. If you use the link that I provide, you won't be able to edit it, which means it is not very useful to you. So that's the first thing. Quick little overview of the sheet. Anything in yellow is something that I expect you to, input information yourself. And a lot of it is optional. Anything in red contains formulas, which if you edit the sheet, you run the risk of breaking certain parts of it. So you are welcome to do so, but just know that it is at your own risk. So here's how it works. You're gonna go to your match in Sendou, so that you can tell that it's a match because it will say matches in this URL, and it's where you are playing the tournament. You're just going to copy that URL, and then you're going to go to this cell and you're going to paste the link, and what you will see is that everything will update for you, and it's super cool. So you can see here that the names, the logos, the seeds, the records, the rosters, the map list, and the format, all the current map, all update for you automatically, which is super cool. And this is a little preview of what this might look like for you. So the only things that you have to do, there's only 3 elements on this sheet, and you don't even necessarily have to do these things, but there are 3 elements of the sheet that will not happen automatically. There's the colors, the match info, and the score. So I'll go through those things one at a time. First, the ink colors. At the start of game 1, you will have to pick the correct color. So at the start of game 1, take a look at this key here, and it shows you all the pairs of colors, and then you're going to select the correct one. Let's say that I see orange and blue, so I'm going to click C. And you can see that it has showed me these 2 colors for those teams, and it's updated on the sheet. From here on out, all of these colors will go in order. So after this will be these colors, and then the ones below that, and the ones below that, and they will cycle through in that order. So then all you have to do now is input the score. So let's say that the winner was Los Inklings. I'm gonna go to this little arrow and click that, and you can see that the score has updated and the colors have shifted to the next color. And that will happen automatically, and this is accurate to the game. Now, the one thing is, these colors change with each patch in the game. If you ever need to adjust it, head over to Sort and just adjust the order of the colors here. That's all you have to do. So there's the colors, there's the score, which you do with that. And then the only other thing that requires your input is match info. So this is just stuff like what round are you in and things like that. Now the cool thing is these two cells will auto-populate these dropdowns with info from the tournament itself. So this is SOS, and you can see that there's the pools as well as all of the bracket names for SOS. So this is a pools round, and we are in round 1, I believe. So it also tells you what format this is in. So this is in round robin, and we're in round 1 of 3. And there's my information. So again, these two are populated from the match link. The rest of these are just things that I think make sense. So you can change these as you wish, but this is what I find the most useful. So the next part of the sheet is this custom field. So, you know, in the event that something breaks or you're doing a tournament that isn't hosted on Sendou, you can still use this spreadsheet. And the way you use that is by using this custom field. So the way this works is if you want to change something, let's say that I want to do the score myself. I want to say that we are 3 and 2. All I do is put that in here and then click the checkbox next to it, and you'll see that it updates it right there. Same thing with team names or seeds or logos. All of these are individual. So if I want to just change team 1, I'm just going to go here and I can just change that side. And the same works for the players as well as the format and maps and everything else. So all of this is, if I want to make this custom, all I got to do is put in that checkbox. In addition to the custom field, I've provided some nice buttons that run some macros that are useful. This one refreshes the page just in case something doesn't load. This one will swap the colors. So let's say you get these wrong, that they're on a different team. You click this, it'll swap the colors around and you can swap them back. This will clear all the info in the match. This will check all of the boxes in the custom field. This will uncheck all of them. This will clear everything in the custom fields. This will reset the score. And this will add a generic logo to the custom fields, which you can see there. If you move any of these cells, it may break the macros, so just be aware. If you edit anything, you might have to make your own. You can make your own very easily though. Go up to Extensions, Macros, and hit Record Macro, and then just do whatever you want it to do. So let's say, for example, I want to say Sendou is cool, and then make sure that's true. I'm going to do those things and then hit save. Then I can title it whatever I want. And now I have a macro. If I clear that, I can then go back up to Extensions, Macros, and then click that. And you can see that it's done what I just did, which is super awesome. If you want an easier way to do that, you can use a button. And the easiest way to do that is going to right click one of the buttons here, click the dots and edit. Then you're going to click and drag to select these, Control C to copy it. And then you're going to go to Insert, Drawing. And drawings are where these buttons are made. You can then paste that in there, adjust the text box to what you want, and then save it. And now you have a button. Last thing you gotta do, right click it again, hit the dots and hit Assign Script, and then name it the script that you made. And now, whenever I click this button, it'll run the script for me. So this is very useful if you, for instance, have something that you want to populate in these custom fields, but you don't want to type it every single time. You can just type it once and then make a button for it and it'll do it all for you. Really, really cool and really useful. So that's how this sheet works. That's how you operate it. Now, to link it to OBS, here's what you got to do. The first thing is you need to set up SheetsIO. No one is going to explain how to do this better than the creator themselves. They've made a wonderful tutorial, and I recommend that you watch this in its entirety. It's only 10 minutes, but it will go through everything step by step and teach you a little bit about the program. When you get to it, I've included the configuration file right down here at this link. Here it is. This is the .json that you need, and you can save it to your computer to use. Once you've set up SheetsIO, come back and I'll show you how to make a nice scoreboard in OBS. So now that you've figured out how to connect SheetsIO to OBS, we're going to put together a quick scoreboard. So here's what I recommend doing. The first thing you're going to do is go to your scenes over here. You're going to hit this plus sign to create a new scene. And I would just name it Scoreboard. Right now, I'm going to name it Sendou Autoboard. So now I have this new scene, and this is where we're going to build our scoreboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a new source. I'm going to go to my sources and hit the plus sign. I'm going to scroll over to text and click that. Then I'm going to create a new text, and I'm going to name this Team 1 Name. Then it pops up this window. I'm going to click Read from File and then go to the Browse. From here, you want to go find your SheetsIO directory. So wherever that is, you're going to go find that. For me, it is under my User tab, and it looks like this. It has the SheetsIO release. Gonna go to Files, to my board, and then click the file that I want. So in this case, that's going to be Team 1 Name. And you can see that now it is showing the whip raise, which is the Team 1 on my scoreboard. I would recommend that you add an outline, and I would make that if you're using a white text, put a black outline and make it quite large so that it's very easy to see. Then click OK. And now you have the first team. Now, the important thing to do here is to recognize that all the teams' names may be different lengths. So one thing you want to try to do is use your bounding boxes. So what I'm going to do is select my source. I'm going to click Control E. And you can see that this brings up the transform parameters. And what I will do here is go to bounding box type and hit scale to inner bounds. And what that will do is keep this name always within the bounds that I set it. It will never get bigger than this box. So I'm going to put it something reasonable, like, let's say here. I'm going to now do the same thing for all of the other sources. Now that I have the team names and the scores, I'm going to make this look a little prettier by adding their logos and the colors of each team. And the way that we do that is by, instead of making a text source, I'm going to click plus and make an image source. I'll still name it. And when we browse, this time we'll select the image that we want. and you can see it pops up here. Same thing as before. I recommend making a bounding box, and I would scale it to the inner bounds here. And we'll do the same thing for the other team. Now this color is currently in front of the text, and I want it behind. So I'm going to select my source, right click, go to order, and move it to the bottom. And now it is under my text. Quick tip, if you want something to be the same size, select the source, then do Control-Shift-C, and that will copy the transform. Otherwise, you could right-click, go to Transform, and hit Copy Transform. And then if you select another source, do Control-Shift-V, or right-click, Transform, Paste Transform. It'll put it in the same spot, at the same size. And then you can just drag it where you'd like, and it'll be the same dimensions. So now I have a very simple scoreboard. It shows me my teams, their logos, their colors, and the current score. And this is enough for a good amount of people. So let's say I'm happy with this. Now I'm going to put it in my gameplay. So then go to your main scene, where your gameplay is. And I'm going to add my scoreboard here. So I'm going to go to plus and add a source. And this time it's going to be a scene. You're going to add an existing scene. So look for your scoreboard scene, which for us is Sendou auto board, and hit OK. And now you can see that my scene that I just built has popped up, and I can move it where I like. And now I have a scoreboard. There's a lot you can do with this. Obviously, you might get creative and have your own assets. You might want something that looks different. You might want different fonts. You might want different logos. You might want some backsplashes or borders or something like that. You might want the colors to all look different depending on what's going on. If you ever want to change anything, you can do so in the sheet. So looking back at my sheet here, if I want to add some custom elements, I'm going to use this info part of the sheet. And here you can see I've already included the colors, and these are all hosted online on a free web hosting service. Now, if I wanted to change these, you could change it to any URL that you want, or if you'd rather use a local file, just paste the file path here and add file : / beforehand. Let's say that I have a file I want to include. I could look at it, right click it, copy as path, or use Control-Shift-C, and then I can paste it in here. And you'll want to remove the quotation marks, but otherwise this will now work. That way, if you don't want to upload everything to a file host, you don't have to. So you can change all of the maps here, the map images. You could change the mode images. You can change the logo that's generic in that macro from earlier. And you can change what shows up for all of the colors. If you want, you can add in more things and adjust the sheet as you wish. If you do change things, you'll want to change the configuration file as well. To do that, I would go to Output, and you can see here that the configuration file is right here. This is organized to be very easy to change. In this column is the name of the file, so you can see Team 1, Team 2, all of these file names. This column has the contents that I want shown. So these are actually formulas referencing this board. So for example, this one is referencing cell H9, which is this. And you can see that's the team name for Team 1. And then here is a formula that automatically puts everything in the correct format. If you wanted to add more things, you could simply take this and add some rows below it. Then you can type in the file name, what it is going to reference, and then I would simply take this and copy paste that cell in. And now you have your JSON updated. Then just take all this and copy paste it into a text file or into that JSON editor, and you're all set. I hope this was helpful and can get you rolling. If you have any questions, please contact me on Discord. You can find all of my socials in the description below. Best of luck to you and have a wonderful time. Thank you.